try this together. So I invite you to roll your shoulders back, sit up nice and tall, and join me in a snap. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, keep snapping, but every time you snap, I want you to choose a different way or a different place to snap. There we go. Different every time, can be one hand, the other hand. Yes. Okay, now, show me all that style and personality that you've got. Yes. And you snap with the person beside you, other side of you, maybe someone across the audience that you don't even know. It's a little awkward. And back to me. And relax. Now, I know you felt it too, because your faces went from to. Think back to your grade school classroom, grade 3, grade 6. What did it look like? Better question, what did it feel like? For some people, maybe like that. What if teachers could create that feeling in math, in literacy, in science? I used to teach in a different kind of classroom. My first career was actually in digital animation, making children's cartoons. And I taught animation for a number of years in the college sector, where I made an observation that grinded my gears a little bit. So in a 3-hour class, sitting behind a computer screen the entire time, we would take a 15-minute break in the middle. And in my early years of teaching, in this break, people would get up, they'd walk around, they'd get some fresh air outside. Those who stayed in the room actually talked to each other. This is where they'd share ideas, collaborate, ask for help. And very quickly, as technology seemed to dominate our lives, the energy of this break completely changed. We're now in the only opportunity in 3 hours to move away from your screen. Nobody did. Everyone would just stay on the internet or on their phones. People stopped talking to each other as if they were all strangers, rather than at the beginnings of one of the most creative, imaginative careers in the world. And I remember thinking it was like I was seeing this humanness being learned out of us. But I put it out of my mind. I didn't really think about it too much back then. And I ended up leaving that career and returning to my original childhood passion, dancing. And I was given this opportunity to facilitate dance party-like workshops with thousands of students and teachers in public elementary and high schools. And looking back, little did I know that what I was going to learn from those dance party workshops might actually lead me to proactively bringing the humanness back to that 15-minute break. So today, I'm going to talk to you about education. And I'm going to show you how using a dance party as a teaching tool in multiple subjects throughout the school day can create richer, healthier, more engaging learning environments, and therefore human beings. What creates a rich, engaging, healthy environment? Let's unpack the snap we began with. What did we do? First, we started with something physical. We engaged the body. We did this all together as a group, creating this sense of unity. Next, we added in the brain, the cognitive. We started to make some different decisions. We were creative with it. Next, we added in the being, the social emotional. We began to interact with each other, and I got to see your style and your personality, which also gave us this sense of individuality at the same time. So what we have going on is this equal engagement of the entire self, and a community where both unity and individuality are both present and celebrated. And I especially love this second one, because if you think about it, these two truths about human beings are very rarely celebrated together. They're usually separate. It's usually, we are all united, or everybody's got to be different. And the truth is, we are both. And look at the positivity we create in the room when we celebrate both at the same time. This was inspired by a woman named Misty Tripoli. And Misty, at the top of her game in the LA fitness industry, had a realization that her true health and true happiness came from finding her groove and dancing. And not dancing for choreography, but the kind of dancing you do when nobody's watching kind of dancing. And she created this approach she calls the groove method to facilitate group dance experiences that give people that same feeling, this connection to self, connection to others. A group of us in Ontario wanted to see if we could make this work with kids. And we had an audience in public elementary and high schools to practice on. And after quite a bit of trial and error, we started to get pretty good at it, and I became extremely inspired and blown away by the results that we were seeing from these kids. So have a look at the level of engagement and those two ideas being put into practice. I know, right? So it was clear, this was powerful. Dancing, not for choreography, not for technique, but for expression and community and connection. So essentially a dance party, where we have this equal engagement of the whole self, and a community where both unity and individuality were present and celebrated, was creating a rich, healthy, engaging environment. Seeing as we were doing this in the gym, being active, and working inside a very compartmentalized, siloed education sector, the natural response from teachers, administrators, and us was that this was something great for physical education and dance curriculum, which is part of the arts. So we began to create resources for teachers teaching those subjects to use this as a more holistic tool in their teaching. That was until a math consultant was in one of our sessions for teachers. And she pulls me aside after and she says, you know, there are a lot of numeracy connections naturally occurring in what you're doing. Problem solving, spatial reasoning. You should consider identifying the math connections present in your dance and phys ed material, make it more cross-curricular. I was intrigued. I go home. I download the math curriculum, and to my surprise, I totally geek out. I mean, I am up late at night reading this thing like it is 50 Shades of Math. I cannot put it down. And having grown up as a dancer, and then spending so much time in digital animation, creating movement in a 3D space with grids and graphs and numbers, all of these ideas start flooding into my mind about how we can practice fractions as if we're breakdancers, and angles as if we're inside a Pac-Man game, and geometric properties as if we're martial artists. And I had a thought. I didn't want to identify the math connections present in our dance and phys ed material. But what if we took this approach that was working in the gym and gave it to classroom teachers to apply to the math curriculum itself? And now, instead of students learning sitting down, paper and pencil, we use our entire self to learn. Before we explore this further, let's have a look at why this is so important. Guidelines dictate how long teachers are to spend on each subject. Now, this varies from province to province and a little bit between school boards and sometimes schools, but in general, the 1,500-minute week of school, so 300 minutes of instruction time a day, looks something like this. Let's see what happens if we break this down into the categories of the body, the brain, and the being. Our academics give us a nice-sized brain. We do have physical education. We've got the body in there. So the brain and the body, they're rather obvious. What is less obvious is the being, the social emotional. And we do have the arts left, which one would argue, and I would agree, are great tools for social emotional learning. But in general, these subjects can be much more random and inconsistent in how they're taught, and generally not seen as dedicated social emotional learning time. So this picture, at best, maybe looks like this. Clearly, we have a very imbalanced day as far as the entire self and the community is concerned. And I think we can all agree that now more than ever, students need more opportunities to be active, creative, and interactive. And so do you. I invite you to please stand up. Okay, now, this one's gonna be a little less dance party because we wanna be mindful of the tight space that we have, so it's gonna be a little calmer. Listen to your body. If you do feel like doing this sitting down, you can definitely do this sitting down as well. Okay, relax your body a little bit. This is an activity I call Tai Chiometry, and we are going to explore geometric properties. In no way am I claiming this to be authentic Tai Chi, although we are going to adopt some of its principles. Okay, first what I would like you to do is mold in front of you with your hands a square-based pyramid. There we go. Now, don't look at me, look at the pyramid. Don't look at me. Visualize it. Perfect. Visualize what color it is, what size it is. Now, show me your hands. Connect one of your fingers to your thumb, whichever is most comfortable. Bend your knees a little bit. And visualizing where all the edges and vertices of this pyramid are, draw them with your hands, slowly, mindfully, allowing your creativity to guide your movement. Yes, okay, my friends, we've got some funky beats in the background, so you are welcome to add a little style to this. Yeah, there we go, there we go. Now notice we are all united doing the same task, but we're all doing it differently. Still unity and individuality. Okay, put your palm under the base. Put your finger at the vertex at the top. Now, visualize it as you rotate it 90 degrees. Maintain its size. Don't let it grow or shrink. Don't look at me, look at the pyramid. Okay, now the vertices and edges have moved. In their new position, draw them again. Oh. The looks of concentration on your faces are amazing. Visualization and spatial reasoning, very, very important for most STEM careers. Again, you can show me a little style with this. We got some music playing. There we go. Don't look at me, look at the pyramid. All right, and relax your arms. Turn to face a partner, preferably somebody you don't know. Turn to face a partner. Acknowledge your partner somehow. Okay, partner A has longer hair, partner B has shorter hair. Okay? We figured it out? Okay. Partner A, in that same style, draw a sphere in front of you, any size you want. Partner A, draw that sphere. Yes. Again, you can add a little style. We got some beats happening in the background. Okay, partner A, don't stop. Keep drawing. Partner B, draw a sphere that is double the size of partner A's. Oh. This looks pretty cool. Double the size. And relax your arms. Acknowledge your partner somehow. Acknowledge somebody across the room somehow. There we go. And have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Nicely done. So you just explored from the Geometry and Spatial Sense strand of the Ontario Math curriculum, geometric properties, vertices, edges, identifying those geometric relationships. We had some location and movement in there with some with rotations and some angles as well. Nicely done. Now, for me, the mission was really clear. This is something great for physical education and dance curriculum, and it still belongs there. But if we stop there, we're really not changing this picture. So first, we applied it to math. Next, we applied it to literacy. And we're continuing to make our way across the other subjects to eventually effectively integrate the entire school day. And we now have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of teachers that are stepping outside their own comfort zones and using this approach and using these resources as a tool in their classroom throughout the day. And it is amazing to hear some of their stories. We hear about students who generally show higher behavior needs, showing better self-regulation. Students who generally make excuses to leave during class, especially math class, staying and participating. Students that are usually a little bit more shy and don't generally answer questions, participating, showing more confidence, showing a growth mindset. This being a wonderful differentiated instruction tool for all students, although we have a group of teachers that work with students that are visually impaired that use this as an alternative approach in their classes as well. And they're being creative, interactive, and getting up and moving throughout the day. And we know that getting up and moving has great benefits to our physical self, but also in our cognitive and our readiness to learn, and all of this for the social emotional as well. One of my favorite stories that I heard, though, came from right here in Simcoe County. One of the board consultants in this board was demonstrating that exact activity, tied geometry, to a group of teachers. And one of the teachers came to her after and said that she has a condition that makes it difficult for her to create mental images in her mind. But during that activity, she could. And I asked our contact, who was this teacher? And she couldn't remember. So Simcoe teacher, if you're in this audience, or if you're watching this, please can you get in touch with me, because I have a couple questions that I want to ask you about that. Schools are a place to learn, but maybe they're also a great place to unlearn and to relearn what it is that makes us human. When we were all snapping in the beginning, practicing geometry a little later on, we were reminded that our brains are not separate from our bodies and our beings. Our communities are a combination of unity and individuality. And when we put it all together, this audience came to life. So what if teachers involve students in learning using these ideas in multiple subjects throughout the school day? We have a captive audience of future generations for 1,500 minutes a week. And we can all agree the system needs to evolve to be more integrated, and ministries are definitely taking steps in the right direction. But in large systems, changes take time, and regardless of mandate, it is the teachers that make the difference. It is the teachers that are the change makers on the front lines, and our communities are equipped with thousands of them, well-positioned to create richer, healthier, more engaging learning environments and lives for today's tiny humans. They need the support, and they need new tools. And what better tool can you think of than a dance party?